we have a guest speaker. This is Miss Julie Rogers-Bascom. She is the service learning coordinator for the entire Edina Public Schools. So she works with kids all the way from the kindergarten classrooms, and even maybe younger than that, all the way up to the high school seniors. So she has a ton of experience working with all different age kids, and even adults too, because I just saw this presentation last time, and I feel like she's already helping me too. So she's got a wealth of information for you guys about what we're going to be doing in our middle school classes for about the next 3 weeks, maybe even longer. We don't really have a timeline for this, and I think that's a good thing because this could take longer time than that. So we're going to give her our attention and be good listeners. We're going to keep our feet on the floor so we can be attentive to this. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can you all hear me? I have this nice little device to make sure that I don't scream. So if I start talking loudly or if I start talking too softly, please somebody let me know. Thank you for welcoming me here today. I am thrilled to be with you because I think that what the work that you're about ready to do is not only for right now, but it is work that you will continue to do throughout your stay at Edina Public Schools. Our goal is that when you leave Edina Public Schools, when you're a senior and you graduate, that you have had some experiences with service learning. So today, we're going to find out a little bit more about the difference between community service and service learning. We're going to talk a little bit about the service learning cycle, about how you do service learning. Important. We're going to have a deeper understanding of maybe the types of service learning, and then we'll have some time to think about what are some problems that you think there are in the community, in the state of Minnesota, in the nation, in the world. And sometimes there are problems in our own backyard that we don't attend to, that are important, or maybe what you're excited about. I also want you to we're going to spend 30 seconds quietly thinking about, okay, what is something that I really am interested in? Spend 30 seconds just thinking, what am I really interested in? It could be sports, it could be a certain type of magazine, it could be fencing, it could be reading books, it could be painting. So spend just 30 seconds thinking about that. Go. When you have something that you feel, and you don't have, this is something that's just going to be private and personal. When you have something that you've identified as an interest, stand up. Interest or something. A little pressure at the very end there, isn't there? Maybe I don't have one. Okay, thank you. Sit down. You can sit down. All right. I want you to turn to a neighbor. No talking yet, but turn to someone. It could be a pair or it could be a triad. And I want you to talk about ways that you have been of service or you have been engaged in community service or service learning. All right, go. All right, I invite you to come back together. I invite you to eyes up here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to ask for some examples of how you have been of service, how you've been engaged in service. Yes?
I volunteered at
Animal Humane Society. Is that an area of interest for you, animals?
Yeah.
Okay, terrific, thank you. Impact Lives. How many have done Impact Lives? That's a food packing event at Highlands and at Countryside. Okay.
Feed My Starving Children.
How many have done Feed My Starving Children? Okay.
All of us.
All right. What other acts of service or ways that you were involved in service? Yes.
I picked up trash around the school.
Oh, picked up trash around the school. You know, I have to tell you a story. I lived in Oakland, California for a long, long, long time, and I was walking with the president of the whole of the big shopping center, and I was walking with him talking about something, and in the middle of this big, big urban center, there was a piece of garbage, and here's the president of the whole center. He reaches down, picks up the garbage, and walks over and throws it away. Now that happened over 20 years ago, and I still remember it. I remember it because he didn't need to do it, but he felt it was his job to make it, it was his job too. It wasn't just the janitor's job, it was his job too. So those of you who pick up garbage that isn't your garbage, thank you. Thank you. What other acts of service? Bring in winter clothes. Yes, for people who might be experiencing, who need coats because they're cold.
We sponsor people in Africa, so we send them goats
Okay, sponsoring people who don't have the same kind of resources that we have. Okay, what else?
Third grade, I with a bunch of my classmates, we went and made a bunch of lines around their school.
All right, terrific. Thank you for doing that. Last comment.
The duck one is, we all did this, didn't we? The duck one, in the beginning of the school year, where we sent like a chick to a family.
Oh, through Heifer International, maybe?
It was for the duck, the magazine drive. The magazine drive. Yeah, magazine.
So let me ask one person to tell me, and you guys can educate me. What was this all about?
Well, for the magazine drive, you could like buy magazines or like send like stuff to your like relatives so they could buy magazines. And then if you get enough magazines like bought, then you get prizes. And one of the prizes was like you like save like the baby chick.
Okay.
You send
Oh, what a great idea. What a great idea. Because sometimes we have, when you sell magazines, you have the opportunity to have some of those gifts or kind of their incentives. What those are incentives. But this is a whole another kind of incentive. Well, whoever thought of that idea, that's really another way that supports what we're trying to accomplish here at in Southview. All right. Other thoughts on the service? Other words that make me that remind me of service are kindness, compassionate. What's this word? What's that word?
Aiding or assisting.
Awesome, thank you. Now, one of the we're going to talk a little bit more about service learning, but I want to tell you about an issue that I observed today that I thought was an issue. Sometimes we think about community service as a collection or a charity, and that's really important work too. But I want to tell you about a problem that I observed this morning when I was coming into school. I parked over here in the west parking lot between the community center and Southview Middle School. I parked, and there, do any of you drive to school, or have you ever been driven to school and dropped off at that west? Okay, so the rule is, right, the rule is that you go all the way around and you pull up alongside the sidewalk, right? Well, I saw someone this morning, and I always assume positive intent. I always assume that somebody is trying to do the right thing. This car came in through the parking lot, parked, and had the student walk from the parking lot across all those cars into the school building. Now my thought, that was a problem for me. What do you see as a problem with that? They could get hit, right?
You can fall.
They could fall, absolutely. Anything else?
Well, like that's just dangerous. It's really cold.
Dangerous and cold. Yeah, somebody that student could have gotten hurt. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but when I was in middle school, sometimes I like to say, oh, rules. I don't like to follow rules. Anybody feel that way? Yeah. Sometimes rules are made for the common good. Okay, they're made because they're thinking about everybody. They're thinking about how behavior impacts everybody. So I saw that as a problem this morning. We're going to talk about community service and we're going to talk about service learning, and I want you to think about the two differences of those two activities or actions and how it would apply to this situation. Okay? Again, I am assuming positive intent. I am assuming that the parent that was dropping off the child, maybe the child was late for a study session with a teacher, or maybe the mother or father had a meeting. So I understand that. But I just observed. Observe. That's one of the ways that we investigate. We observe. All right. Community service. What do you think is happening here?
Is it garden out the window?
Absolutely. What do you think they're doing right here? Planting a tree. Yeah, absolutely. So community service is any activity that engages people, kids, and adults in addressing needs in their schools or community. Okay. What is the need in the example that I gave you this morning? What's the need? And why would that, what's the need? Safety. It's a safety need. So how would you solve that? How would you solve that? Okay, so what do we need to do in order for that parent or other parents to make sure that they do that?
Like put up a sign.
Put up a sign? What else? Good, thank you. Yeah.
Like, when you park, just go outside with your kid and walk into the school.
Okay, that's another idea, absolutely. So those are community service that's a community service project. Service learning is a little bit different because it connects to what you're learning in the classroom. All right, so service learning is a way that we teach, and it's a way that you learn. It's a way to solve a problem. So I explained to you a problem, and if we were doing a service learning experience, we would look at ways to solve that through some of the things that we're trying to learn in our classroom. So this classroom, middle school study skills? Middle school skills. What are some of the things you're tasked with learning in this class? What are you supposed to be learning?
Well, a couple weeks ago we learned how to organize our lockers and just have everything organized.
Okay, organization is a big deal here, right? It's a little bit different than elementary school. You got a lot of papers. You've got to move around to different classes. So thank you very much. What are some of the other goals or other learning targets here?
Like making sure your grades are good and making all your stuff on the same.
Okay, awesome, great, thank you.
Like we learned about like extroverts and introverts and like perceivers and shit.
How to be the best student you can be. Absolutely, yes.
Good online uses like for email.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Digital citizenship, right? This is the month. This is Digital Citizen Month here in Edina. What else? Yes.
Learning how to well, we probably already know how to make friends, but like make friends and keep them to be nice.
So I would call that collaboration, right? You're learning how to collaborate. Thank you very much. Yes. Work as a team, absolutely. Yes.
Learn about like
Cyberbullying. So you, okay, good. Good. So you're going from an elementary student to a middle school student, and you're learning how to be a responsible middle school student. And I would also suggest that you are learning how to be a responsible, engaged citizen, both in the classroom and in school, but we also want you to have those kind of skills when you leave Edina Public Schools. And we can do that through service learning, okay? So if we were doing a service learning approach to that problem that we discussed in the parking lot, how would that be a little bit different? This is hard. Yes.
Make something or have someone stand there to help do it, and the person standing there would be doing something.
Good, thank you. So you'd have someone there probably using good persuasive skills, an appropriate conversation with the person who is maybe not following the rules? Yes.
In elementary school, we do like safety patrol.
Okay.
People make sure like all the kids cross their streets.
So what's your name?
Divya.
Divya is thinking about a system approach, okay? Not just going to that one person, but really addressing the whole system. That's what's also different about service learning. You are looking at, okay, we know that there's hunger in the world, right? We know that there's hunger. There's hunger in Edina. But we also know, guys, there's enough food to feed everybody in the world. There is enough food. So what's wrong with the system? Yes, yes.
Some people have like a lot of food.
Mhm.
Some people don't have very much food. Like instead of an even balance, it's like
Mm-hmm.
off.
Yeah, there's an inequity. Okay, so what we're talking about is the system of food. And if we're going to, as Divya said, look at the system, one of the systems that is working in elementary school is that there's a safety patrol. There's no safety patrol here. Is that something that should be introduced? I don't know. The only way to understand that is to do a little bit more investigation. So, real quickly, the differences between community service and service learning. Community service is good and important work, really. But what we're trying to do is connect it to what you're supposed to be doing in the classroom right now. So service learning is a way of learning in your classroom. We talked about that. We also use reflection to help take that learning deeper. So we allow for some time to think before, during, and after your service experience. Okay, so reflection, thinking is another way of saying reflection. I was going to say thinking or reflecting, not reflecting. It can take place during the school day, which often community service happens after school or on the weekend, and it also is sometimes just a one-time event. To change the issue of, to change or impact safety, do you think it could be done in just one fell swoop? I think if you gave a flyer to a person who is not following the rule, do you think that would change everything? Do you think that would impact other people? I don't think so. So I think you have to look at it more longitudinal. That's a big word. Longitudinal. What does that mean? Long?
Logically?
Well, logically, yeah, but it also means kind of over a long period of time. Thank you. We talk, service learning can include the whole classroom, and it also includes youth voice. And I want you to really think about this, because this is what's really different. Nobody is going to be saying, you have to do this. You have to do this. Nobody is saying, this is what you're going to do for a service learning project, Mr. Vikings. I want you all, I want you to come up with ideas that are important to you. Remember when I had you think for 30 seconds about what you're interested in? That's where I want you to start. As you go forward in Edina Public Schools, there are lots of different opportunities for you to be involved in service learning. In 6th grade, we're going to be talking about service and service learning, what the difference is. We're going to encourage you to figure out how to take action. And it's some kind of action that has to do with something that you care about. Yes? 8th grade is not up there because this year 8th grade is not involved in a project yet. I've got some ideas. Yet. How many of you studied immigration this year? This year is immigration. April 14th, we're having a citizenship ceremony where new people to the country who are becoming citizens are going to be sworn in. Very interesting. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can let me or one of your teachers know. So 6th and 7th grade, you do an apathy project. What does apathy mean? What does apathy mean? If I'm apathetic about something, what does that mean? Yes?
You care about it?
You don't care about it.
Oh.
If I'm apathetic about it, I think we're thinking about empathy. Empathy is when you care about something, or you care about someone, or you're empathetic. But if you're apathetic, what that means is that you don't care about it. Sometimes people, years ago, you would never see this anymore, but years ago, people would be driving their cars, they'd roll down their window, they'd open up their Snickers candy bar and throw the wrapper outside. That doesn't happen anymore because somebody, or it does happen, but far less. Far less. And that's because somebody launched a campaign against littering. And I would say that that could have been a service learning project. Yes?
I have a connection. Once I just walked outside out of my house and I saw a person throw a banana peel out of their
Yeah. So sometimes I try to assume positive intent, but there was nothing, I mean, there could have been some other solutions, okay? So the apathy, 7th graders, next year, you will all have the opportunity to identify something you think the community is apathetic about. Maybe you think it's people aren't taking good care of the furniture in the school. Maybe you think that there needs to be no homework. Maybe you think that we should have longer school days. Okay.
vote for that.
You vote for that. Okay, all right. So in 9th grade, you do a great big service learning project in 9th grade, connected to government. In 10th grade, you do a 10-page research paper called, it's part of the Passion Project, where you identify something you are passionate about and you figure out how to take action. Some kids, one student was really passionate about mountain biking. And he couldn't figure, so he wrote this 10-page paper. And would you rather write about something you like or something you don't like? Something you like, right. So he wrote about mountain biking, but he couldn't figure out, what is it that I should take action in? And I said, so what are some of the issues around mountain biking? He said, well, you know, there aren't a lot of good mountain biking trails in, I'm making this up, in Edina. And I said, so how do you solve that? And he said, well, I could go talk to the bike commission. I said, yeah, you could. So he went and he talked to the bike coalition and tried to get more mountain biking trails in Edina. So that's what I'm thinking about. I am going to have somebody read this little clip, and if you think it's community service, while I point here, you stand up. Or maybe you think it's a little bit further from community service, then you stand up. And as I go along here, you stand up according, on this continuum. You know what continuum is? Kind of starts in one end and kind of goes to the other. Like this might be no and this might be yes. Sometimes it's not real clear. Sometimes it's not all this way or all that way. It's not black and white. So I am going to ask you, sir, to read it very loudly.
A local high school held a canned food and fun drive for DEAP. The students competed to see which class could collect the most food. They helped their food drive in March as part of Hunger Awareness Week.
All right. So I want you to stand according to where it lies on this continuum. So is it community service? Stand if you think it's community service. I'm walking towards service learning. A couple of brave souls here. I'm walking closer to service learning. I'm almost at service learning. Almost at service learning. All right. So I am observing, and that's one of the ways that I collect information. You may all sit down. I am observing that most of you felt it was more towards the community service side. Is that a correct observation? Thank you. Why do those of you who felt it was closer towards community service, why? Okay, so there wasn't, you didn't observe in that brief thing that there was a lot of learning. Okay, all right. We're going to do it to the net. We're going to do one more. Blue coat or blue sweatshirt.
Students in a science class were concerned about the impact of the air quality while buses idled in front of their school. They worked with the Department of Environmental Protection to monitor the air and collect data. They found that the air quality was polluted due to the
Idling.
buses. Students presented their findings to the school board, and the district changed the policy.
All right. We're going to do the same experience here. Community service. Walking closer to service learning. Even closer. Even closer to service learning. Even, I'm at the very end of service learning, so everybody should be standing up at some point. Yeah, okay. All right, great, thanks. Sit down. Why did you, I observed, again, that's my, another, that's a way of investigating. That's going to be important in a few more minutes. Why did you think it was service learning? Yes?
Because there was like more of a problem and they had to fix it.
There was a problem and they were trying to fix it. Thank you so much. Yes?
Well, it wasn't community service because like community service is like helping us. Their service learning is kind of helping, but helping us like have very good service learning.
Right. And service learning, I would contend, guys, that they were helping too. Absolutely. This was helping. We're missing a key word.
I have a question.
Yes.
Was this actually true? Because whenever the buses are outside, they're always off, but it's still right before we go.
This is a true problem. It did not happen in Edina. Yes.
Well, like, it's service learning because, like, they're learning about, like, collecting data on the air and, like, I don't know.
Absolutely. It is learning because they are doing some data collection and they're using skills that they're learning in the classroom to solve a problem. Okay. Do you want to do one more? In the yellow. Oh, shoot. Go ahead. I'm just running out of time. So I have way too much fun with you all.
A third grade class in Minneapolis studied the rainforest and turned their classroom into a war. At the end of the unit, the teacher had students collect pennies to support
thank you.
of rainforest in South America.
Okay, thank you for finding my typo. I got to fix that. Okay, community service. Doing the same thing. If it's community service or service learning. So I observed that most of you were closer to the community service, and I would agree, because it doesn't seem like they just turned it into a rainforest, right? And they collected pennies, which is service, which is great and important work, right? But I don't know what they learned. I don't know what they learned. All right, real quickly, and I think you'll have to show this wonderful video in your class next time you meet. But I want to talk a little bit about the IPARD cycle. This is actually, IPARD is how you start a service learning experience. The first step is to investigate. And what did we do? What did I say earlier? What were some of the things that we used to investigate? Observation. Okay. Here, I want you to remember MISO. Say it after me. MISO. MISO. Okay, the M stands for media. What's media? How would you investigate using media? Yes. Information, yeah. Where would you get that information? From like the internet, maybe? Yeah, okay. Where else would you get information? YouTube, that's another media source. Okay. Next one is I. What do you think I stands for? This is how you get information. Interview. So if you wanted to learn about service learning, who would you go talk to? If you wanted to learn about science, who would you go talk to? If you wanted to go learn about math, who would you talk to? All right. So the next one is S.
Social.
The last one you better get. Oh. Observation. Okay. When you go back to your classroom next time, I encourage your teachers to show a video. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to it today because you were such good listeners and you're participating. I look forward to coming back and asking you questions about what do you care about, what do you want changed. Thank you for your attention. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you.